I'm Brian Foster, and this is the Grindhouse Institute. On each episode of this podcast, Jeremy Floyd and I program a triple feature movie night. Each of the movies share common themes, and we discuss them here. We're happy you could join us for today's block we call Me Snake. Donning the eye patch, sleeveless shirt, and gray camouflage pants, Kurt Russell brought the role of Snake Plissken to life in Escape from New York. A favorite character of his, Russell, with his celebrity status and star power, was able to convince the studio to make a sequel to New York 15 years later with Escape from LA. Rumor has it that a third movie had been in early talks, although we never got to see Escape from Earth come to life. Or did we? Promised immunity for a laundry list of international crimes, mysterious soldier-for-hire Snake Plissken is tasked with infiltrating the prison island of New York City and saving the president from the clutches of the Duke of New York. Donald Pleasance, Isaac Hayes, and Kurt Russell star in John Carpenter's Escape from New York from 1981. Promised immunity for a laundry list of international crimes, mysterious soldier-for-hire Snake Plissken is tasked with infiltrating the prison island of Los Angeles. Wait, didn't I just say that? There he will have to retrieve the MacGuffin disc with the power to kill all technology on Earth. Kurt Russell, Steve Buscemi, and Pam Grier star in John Carpenter's Escape from LA from 1996. Promised immunity for a laundry list of international crimes, mysterious soldier-for-hire Snow is tasked with infiltrating the island prison of... Oh, come on! Just hold on a second. Snow must infiltrate an orbiting prison, save the president's daughter, clear his name, and recover the MacGuffin before the government bureaucrats who forced him into this situation kill him. Guy Pearce, Maggie Grace, and Lenny James star in Lockout from 2012. Thank you for listening to the Grindhouse Institute. Please enjoy.
This is the Police Channel, and this is Prime News.
War hero, criminal, convicted of 27 moral crimes. Arrested 2 weeks ago on a charge of gunfighting for profit in New Vegas, Thailand, U.S. territory.
What do you have to say, Plissken?
Call me Snake.
It was an accident. About an hour ago, a small jet went down inside New York City. The president was on board.
President of what?
That's not funny, Plissken.
Get a new president.
We're still at war, Plissken. We need him alive.
I don't give a fuck about your war. Or your president.
So what do I call you?
Snow.
Snow? What's your first name?
Snow.
Your name is Snow? Well, that's just ridiculous.
Brian was like texting me the other day. He's like, I think we finally did it. I think we've hit rock bottom on one of the movies we've watched on the show.
I think it's worse than Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation.
Yeah,
I really do.
The Matthew McConaughey one. If you've seen that one, yeah.
If you've seen that one, it's
Matthew
bad.
McConaughey is it?
And Renee Zellweger.
Yeah.
What?
Superstars.
It got released, I think, right after these two blew up, and they're like, "Oh, great! We have marketable stars now." Yeah.
Built-in promotion. Yeah.
But is it not good?
Highly recommended, though, from the Grindhouse Institute.
Yeah.
Go check that out. It's better than Lockout, is what they say on the show.
That's going to be on the front of the Blu-ray re-release.
Peter Travers from Rolling Stone says, it's better than Lockout.
I would love to see a movie tout just all the quotes that are shitting on other movies in comparison to them.
Not as good as the first.
Why me?
You flew the Gulf Fire over Leningrad. You know how to get in quiet. You're all I've got.
What if I'm a little late?
No more Hartford Summit. And no more Snake Plissken.
When I get back, I'm gonna kill you.
The Gulf Fire's waiting.
All right, welcome back to the Grindhouse Institute. I'm Brian Foster, and with me, as always, is Jeremy Floyd. Hello, and how are you?
Brian, what did I teach you?
What? What part is that from?
I can't hear you.
You are the Duke of New York. A number one. Brian, did you even watch the movies today?
I mean, your Donald Pleasance is perfect, so I'm surprised I messed that up. We're talking Escape from New York today, 1981, Escape from LA, 1996, and Lockout from 2012. This is an interesting episode we're calling Call Me Snake for obvious reasons. But when we get to Lockout, I think we can get back into that. But these are all movies, well, two of them at least, are from John Carpenter. His only sequel that he's ever directed, Escape from LA, from his pantheon of films. And then Lockout, which is basically a remake, steal, or theft. I don't know what you'd call it, but at one point, John Carpenter did win a plagiarism lawsuit against this film. So that's obviously why they went together. So, and today we have a very special guest with us. Jeremy, could you please do the introduction?
Yeah, so we have some fun movies and 2 arguable remakes of that first movie. Thought it would be a lot of fun to have a comedian, actor, and all-around cinephile friend, Ryan Hitchcock. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
Cinephile, huh? You're a big movie fan?
Yeah, you know, I got a letterbox account.
Oh, so you're legit.
or maybe just movie nerd. I don't know. How would you characterize
Yeah,
it?
I don't know. I don't know if I look. I mean, if you want to call me a cinephile, I'm not going to stop you. But
Right.
I don't know that I really have like the breadth and depth of knowledge yet that
To be a
like,
cinephile.
really be called a cinephile. Yeah.
Yeah. Movie nerd probably makes up for that, I guess.
Yeah,
Covers
I
all of
would
it.
say maybe like genre specialist.
Oh. Which genres are you a specialist in, or is this across the board?
I would say largely kaiju films.
Awesome.
Godzilla. I haven't gotten through the Gamera series yet, but
We've been talking about doing a kaiju Halloween block. We haven't done that though in the last couple of years, but yeah, that'd be great to have you on for that.
Oh yeah, I have recommendations.
And speaking of giants on screen, we've got Kurt Russell here.
Look at that segue.
Kurt Russell movies.
This man's
Pearce
professional.
movies.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you for joining us today to talk about these movies, 2 of which I really, really enjoy, one of which I really, really, really enjoy, one of which I didn't really care for going through, but that's kind of the joy of this
I'm not sure
show.
which one it was that you didn't like.
No, you guys will have to guess. We'll stay till the end and I'll tell you. But yeah, let's get right into it here. Call me Snake, call me Snow. I guess let's start with Escape from New York. I'll give my initial
where it all
reactions
began.
After seeing this for only the 50th time or so. So initial reactions. It's like one of the best. And for some reason, a movie from 1981 still holds up to this day in terms of effects and everything. And it just still works in so many levels.
I think a big part of that reason is James Cameron was
I know, exactly.
instrumental in doing the special effects.
So he was all the matte paintings and all the computer-looking effects, right? That were
all the sort of like fake computer graphics. Like
how brilliant, right?
Yeah, because it was like so difficult to do computer graphics, even wireframe stuff back then. You know, they just shot it sort of practically with black boxes and reflective tape.
So smart.
And boom.
I rented the Blu-ray, and so I watched a little featurette about the special effects, and it was very cool to see like this like very scrappy special effects company that like bid on this movie,
right?
And then had to like come in with like the smallest bid for their budget, but then also match like the rather elaborate production design of the on-set footage.
Right.
And like the workarounds that they found for that stuff was brilliant. The thing that really struck me was for the overhead shot of Manhattan they did in miniature.
Mm-hmm.
They had like 2 photos of Manhattan to like work off because like like pre-internet, now you could like
There's
go to
no Google Earth,
Google Earth.
They were just like pulling photos out of books of New York, and just well, I know that this building is this many stories, and so like counting the windows on the buildings to determine how tall stuff should be.
Right.
Yeah. It looked great though.
Yeah.
And he also did the fly into with the glider, right? You could see the city coming through or coming toward the screen, and it's over the the ocean there and everything, and like it really sells well. And I think it's that futuristic 1997 now. That's what the title said.
Yeah. What's it called? Yeah, the Police Force of America. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef is so good.
United States Police.
Yeah, my United States Police Force. Oh man,
it's happening now.
Yeah, we did it. And I kind of forgot how it had been a little while since I'd seen Escape from New York, and an extremely long time since I've seen Escape from L.A., and I've never seen Lockout, but,
Not even for this podcast. You didn't even
not even for this podcast. Didn't bother to watch it. So.
Didn't even bother.
Yeah. I'll be checking out when you guys get to that one. So. No, but it'd been a while, and I forgot how 9/11 the plane was crashing into Lower Manhattan there.
Exactly.
That was kind of a little bit of a chilling parallel.
I agree.
When I watched it.
So does this kind of fall into the realm of, a good sequel kind of turns out to be a movie that follows similar plot points but changes the tone of the movie a bit, maybe even changes the genre completely. And I mean, I kind of felt that Escape from New York really has horrific elements. It's very dystopian sci-fi horror. Mm-hmm. And then you get to Escape from LA and it feels more like an action adventure film starring, G.I. Joe Snake Plissken in his new stealth outfit, But, this one, the first movie, I feel like is more of like a spy sci-fi tech caper.
Yeah. Well, you know what it actually, like structure-wise, feels like is like a Western.
Right.
Escape from New York. And then, there is, like you said, like a horrific element, especially when they get to the crazies section.
What's going on out there?
Crazies? End of the month, they're out of food.
Oh, the crazies, that's like the Thriller video when they're coming out of all the woodwork, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You touch me, he dies. If you're not in the air in 30 seconds, he dies. If you come back in, he dies.
Yeah, but Finger Guy, he's a creepy dude.
Yeah.
Is that the same guy from Assault on Precinct 13?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the guy who didn't talk in Assault and who blew away Kim Richards or one of the Richards.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
I wanted vanilla twist.
Yeah. And in this one, I don't know, that guy, if we just pause on him for a second, like such an interesting character.
I did quite a few times watching this. I just paused it to send you guys text messages.
Like he's like such a funny character because it's like, he's really sort of overselling it and being very theater student about a lot of things. And like, he's got these very dramatic hand gestures and is like
a mentat.
It's like touch me, he dies. If not in the air in 15 minutes, he dies. Yeah. And like,
he was talking from over here.
Yeah. And exactly. Like they mic'd him from the back or something. But like they and then like later he's like
yeah.
Like he sounds like the little thing that sits on Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
But then later when Brain and Maggie go to bust out the president, you see him like drop his act, and you see that like he was sort of in character as this like weird, intimidating, right hand man to the Duke.
What are you so nervous about?
You got to see the president.
Who says?
The Duke.
No, he doesn't.
Well, I'll have to tell him you said that.
Wait a minute.
Why are you here, Brain?
Yeah.
Did the
Come
Duke
on, Brain,
tell you
you can't be here right now, Brain.
Yeah, there were like 3 different versions of that guy.
Right.
Are we just calling him Finger Guy, or do we have a name for this clown?
I think his name was Romero. Yeah. Frank Doubleday was the actor, but they called him Romero.
Awesome.
After who? Who do you think?
Caesar Romero?
Hello, kiddies. Meet the Joker.
Exactly.
Probably.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of an actor making choices, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm like...
Yeah, me too.
I love a big performance. Like, I'm a big Nicolas Cage guy,
Okay, yeah.
I feel like none of it is bad. Like, it's just like it's a style, Yeah. Some
and very
people
memorable.
Are more naturalistic. Some people are more stylized in their choices. And, when you have someone who's more reserved, like Kurt Russell is when he's playing Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he's certainly making choices too as Snake Plissken. It's just because he is like kind of this, like going into the rewatch for this, I like remembered like, oh, Snake Plissken, he's kind of this like very like taciturn sort of badass Clint Eastwood type character.
Right.
But he also like Kurt Russell has this look on his face the entire movie like someone took his toys away.
Yeah.
Like there's like a vulnerability there. Like I can imagine Snake Plissken being like, well, at my dad's house, I can eat as many toaster strudels as I want, Steve.
Don't limit my toaster strudels, Steve.
There's like kind of like a
Snake talking to his stepdad.
Like, his like lashing out of at authority like comes from a very wounded place.
That's when they called him Worm because he was smaller. He had to earn the nickname Snake.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Snake Plissken and the fact that this is his favorite character? That's what he says, or at least that's what I'm reading in multiple places that this was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kurt Russell's favorite character, and that's why he pushed so hard to come back to this role. I'm like, even better than Jack Burton?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because it's like, this was definitely a turning point in his career.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that maybe probably gives him that association in his mind where it's like, before he was sort of a child star with Disney, and he was also always getting these sort of like cookie cutter roles as maybe a teen heartthrob or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And no one wanted John Carpenter to cast Kurt Russell in this role, but because he did, it sort of gave Kurt Russell this action movie career afterwards. So in terms of like, what divergent path he went on, like, this is definitely one of those forks in the road for him.
I mean, you've got Escape from New York at this time. He did The Thing right after this, right? 82.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Overboard, I think is like right in there, like 84, 85. And it's like, and that's when a different trajectory started for him too, right? So you've got like this kind of grittiness and horror and sci-fi. And he's kind of like in these John Carpenter movies, kind of, what you're getting. And then all of a sudden he's in Overboard. And now this guy can also be the romantic lead,
Right.
He's got it all.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell is one of those guys that I always loved. He was like Harrison Ford. He was like always one that you like appreciated from a man's POV. And then also we're just like, you understood why your girlfriend thought he was hot too. You're just, I get it. That makes sense. Yeah. Because I agree,
Because I agree. Because I am also attracted to him.
Yeah.
Deeply. I guess there's also like, there is a definite sort of sense of humor in this movie. I mean, I know you're talking about like Overboard being more sort of overt humor. Oh, Captain Ron, where he, sort of apes his Snake Plissken persona with the eye patch and all that. Maybe that's what we should have paired with this instead of Lockout.
I'd love to have watched Captain Ron.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, let's come back next week and we'll do this one. Yeah.
Retake intro.
Captain Ron says a lot about the carceral state, actually.
Exactly. I love the fascist undertones in Captain Ron. Oh, God. I know. Did Jamie Lee Curtis have a uncredited cameo in Captain Ron, too?
Yeah, I didn't know that she did the voice of the computer at the beginning. I thought they were going to say it was, Adrienne Barbeau or somebody, but I think she was just in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was Brain's companion.
Because weren't Carpenter and she married at the time? I think they were together then.
Exactly. Both Carpenter and Kurt Russell had their then wives in this movie. Kurt Russell's wife at the time was Susan Hubley, who was the one who gets like sort of sucked into the truck full of nuts ground by the crazies.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That was a scary scene, right? Like she kind of just disappears into the abyss.
Like, take me with you. Okay, well.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, you think like, oh, this is going to be his like companion, his guide through this mysterious place, and then nope, dead, gone.
Yeah.
Which they kind of did that in LA as well with another.
Oh, yeah.
They had the same kind of role that was played, but she also got wiped out, right? Like,
right. Yeah. Well, when we get there, I'm excited about it. But LA is definitely this beat for beat remake of New York. Just a lot more money. So
I just want to talk about how, because I ended up watching Escape from New York and Lockout back to back, and then I went back and watched Escape from LA.
Oh, okay.
And comparing the beginning of Escape from New York, I think is so good at like setting up like everything that you need to know
about
this environment and what it feels to be brought into this environment. Like the long tracking shot down the hallways as Jamie Lee Curtis is like saying like, if you opt for incineration, please, just like very calmly like informing you like, hey, if you'd rather just die, just let someone know.
This will be quick and painless.
You could definitely feel Paul Verhoeven paying attention to this one.
Exactly. Yeah, Starship Troopers and all that. RoboCop.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But then like Lockout, just like so much just exposition at the top. Jesus.
Was it also text? Why am I blanking on this whole movie? I swear
because
I watched
it wasn't memorable. It was all told. It was all in like a flashback.
Right.
No, but you're right. There was all these like, it's like how the X-Files would orient you to what city you're in. There's always like text like coming up across the bottom. They did that in this movie.
But you were in a different spot every scene.
But you're just like every 10 seconds you're like, oh. All right, well, then at this point, I can start disregarding what it says in the lower third.
But Escape from New York sets up the world so perfectly. It gives you're in it. Even if it says, in 2022, it says 1997 now. You can still look past that and just be like, okay, this is a different, parallel look at a future that could have been had this sort of shit happen. And it sets up the world and it maintains that world throughout the whole thing, so it sells the whole time. I love watching this one all the time. I think that this one's great. I like the comic-y characters in the second one a little bit. Well, I like them in a different way, but this one feels a little bit more like how it would actually be. Like these little tribes of people together, and they would be like following certain false prophets or whatever you want to call them at the end of the world.
No, totally right.
Yeah,
I enjoyed. Not to compare with Lockout once again, but I did watch them back to back. How there is
sounds more like a you problem.
Yeah. Well,
YPMP.
I was like, I got a nice Blu-ray player, so I was like, I'm gonna rent them on Blu-ray. And, get the full experience. And those were the only two I could find. They did not have Escape from LA in Blu-ray.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that not available?
Where'd you go?
I don't know. They had it on DVD, but I didn't get it.
Well, Shout Factory has a Blu-ray for it, so there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to buy it.
They just didn't have it in stock at Videotech when I went over there. Shout out Videotech, South Pasadena. Watching them back to back, it was just like, Escape from New York has shows the society that these prisoners have built. In the absence of anything else. And they have the drag cabaret and the
still shows
band. Yeah. So there are they do, it's not like this one note portrayal of just it's just all awful all the time. They're making the best of their situation.
Cabby was loving that show, right?
Yeah. Everyone in Lockout is just an irredeemable psychopath.
Yeah. Well, that's almost the same in Escape from LA. Maybe you can argue Easy Rider.
I would say that Escape from LA even hits that point even harder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's but you're right, with Cabby, with the cabaret show, and especially Gabby's I don't know what, unbridled joy at probably hearing the song for the 400th time or whatever.
Love that close up.
And it's all just sort of in response to them having to be in this open air prison,
right?
And as we see at the very beginning, there's a couple of guys on a raft. And just getting blown away. I
love those setups, though.
They turn back and then they give them 10 seconds. There's no way for these guys to
Exactly. Well,
all right. I guess you're not turning back.
I probably saw this for the first time in the 90s, and that reminded me of footage I would see on the news of our response to Cuban refugees, floating over here on a tire or something. And, so there's all these things that sort of become kind of tangible with Escape from New York and sort of ring true with our world. And unfortunately, presage a lot of some of the things that we deal with in our world now. And you're right. Like I think more so than the other two, what I call remakes. This one has some more of that authenticity that the other ones, kind of take either over the top. Or actually, in both cases, they're pretty over the top.
You mean the other two, or Escape from New York as well?
L.A. and Lockout.
Yeah, Escape from New York kind of keeps itself a little bit more contained, a little bit more reasonable, if you will.
Yeah,
L.A. kind of goes off the rails
in
a great way.
But it's like the balance of all the different genres. Like the sort of Western, the horror, the comedy moments. Even the I don't know, gladiator scene in the middle there. It's like there are all these like different. Almost different genres that sort of meld together in this, and they sort of do it really well.
I mean, can't you see this as a video game? I know I've brought that up with other... The way that this movie is structured is Snake gets pulled into... We don't really see the backstory, but
you mean Solid Snake?
Exactly. And he in LA, he goes in even in the way that Solid Snake goes in Metal Gear. Yeah. But really, all those moments or all those scenes and all those characters you meet all have, like you said, their own genre or their own tone. And then, you meet with Brain and you meet with this person and you have to go into this area. And then all of a sudden you're attacked by the crazies at night. Right. And you say, gotta get out of there and all that. And it just felt like he was going from lily pad of action to lily pad, or different scenes and fun moments. The other ones don't really have as many consistent fun moments. I think Escape from New York, every next scene is really cool and it really pulls you through. And I think that would just make for a really fun game.
Speaking of that as a momentum thing.
Yeah.
What's wild is how as soon as Snake gets into New York and, is following the tracker or whatever, and it leads him to find Buck Flower, getting the shit beaten out of him in the sink or whatever. I'm the president, that guy,
From Back to the Future. Isn't he from Back to the Future?
Yeah. He's
Red?
the homeless guy at the right.
Crazy drunk driver.
And he maybe he was typecast because he was also a homeless guy in They Live, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So once he finds that and finds Buck Flower, then all of a sudden, he's like, oh shit, my trail's run cold, and he goes and sits down and there's story wise, it's wild that they allowed the sort of momentum to die like that. But then he gets chased out by the crazies. It goes into truck full of nuts, and then we get back on track when he gets back to Cabby and all that. But just structurally speaking, I was like, it feels kind of refreshing because obviously structure wise, the screenwriting teachers and everything else would tell you not to do that. Yeah. But they do sort of pull it off here, and I guess maybe in the sense it works because you need this sort of respite from the sort of just relentless drive that the movie has.
Because the intro is pretty relentless too, right?
Yeah,
totally.
I would say that moment definitely seemed reminiscent of me, and I don't know if this was a deliberate homage to Toshiro Mifune in Sanjuro and Yojimbo, because in both of those movies there are moments where he just kind of sits and thinks and scratches his beard.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because he's trying to figure out what his next move is.
Right. He's watching the two gangs fight each other in the street, and he's just exactly. He's laying in the cut. No, that's a good call. That is probably that is probably in there somewhere, deep in the DNA of this one. Also, if we can talk about sort of Brain and that whole world for a minute, I love how we get introduced to the actor's name. I'm blanking right now. Harry Dean Stanton, Brain. And he's sitting in this giant library. And in the middle of the library, there's an oil derrick, which
right, in the background it's pumping. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's
that's so
and the explanation is that the dude keeps him around because he figured out how to make gas. So there's an oil deposit underneath New York City.
So first of all, he found an oil well underneath Manhattan. And then secondly,
underneath the New York Public Library.
And secondly, exactly. It's like a Ghostbusters outtake. But then, like, secondly, it's like, he found out he can refine the crude as well. It's like, there's like, so many steps in this process.
And he must have been pumping a lot, right? Because they always had like a caravan of like 8 cars every time he went somewhere. It wasn't like they were conserving the gas.
And those are like, sort of like 6-ton Lincolns or whatever with chandeliers in the front.
With chandeliers.
I love the
Duke is such a cool look, though, man. When he it's so cool because there's the music that goes along. I mean, obviously Carpenter's known for how great his music is in the movies, and it really does kind of drive the tone. And like when the Duke first comes up and you see that big parade of cars, man, it's just
caravan.
It's a vibe. It's just so hard. It's awesome.
Yeah, I almost wanted to hear Isaac Hayes' real music at that moment.
Exactly. Yeah. Shaft.
But. So we meet Harry Dean Stanton, and it turns out that Snake and Brain go way back.
The history, yeah.
And I don't know if you caught this, but like, okay, so Snake is pissed because, Brain apparently abandoned him in KC because Snake was late, right? And he was like...
Bullshit!
Me, you, and Fresno Bob. But like I was getting these like echoes of Straight Time, right? It's like that's exactly how the robbery goes wrong in Straight Time,
right?
With Harry Dean Stanton.
Harry Dean, he's he was the problem there. Yeah, exactly. Well, he wasn't the problem though, right? It was Gary Busey.
Gary Busey was a problem.
Didn't show up. But exactly with Harry Dean. I think the dialogue in this is fun when they always talk about Snake, what happened to you in Cleveland? And is that what happened in Pittsburgh? It's like there's so much there, you're seeing one version of this, like in New York, and you're like, what the hell has this guy gone through?
Flew the Gulf Fire in Leningrad.
They actually did shoot a bank robbery scene for the beginning of the movie.
Totally.
And it ended up getting deleted. And I watched it, and it's like, it's not a bad scene. It's a bank robbery scene.
It's probably too much backstory.
But it's like, I think it's better if it's like you just leave Snake's background as a spaghetti incident.
We're introduced to him from the back. It's just we're walking up with this mysterious guy that's shackled up. We'd have no idea who this dude is in the MC Hammer pants, and you're like, who the hell's this guy? And it's more mysterious.
It also like kills that sort of like relentless momentum that the beginning has.
Yeah.
To do that. And, I don't know if you've seen it, Brian, but it's like, the way it starts is like there is this long tracking shot through a bank, and it looks like there's these like tall filing cabinets, and so it looks very similar to John Carpenter's very first student film, whose name I'm forgetting right now. What was it called? Captain Underpants?
Dr. Mystery or whatever? I forgot what it was too. It wasn't that good.
God damn it! Hang on.
No, we're gonna find out. Sorry.
It was definitely Captain Underpants. Oh, Captain Voyeur. That's what it was. So it looked very similar to his student film. And then, it's like this long tracking shot, maybe a la Halloween. And then it's sort of revealed that this janitor we're following isn't a janitor, but it's Snake Plissken, and he shakes his hair out, and he was robbing this place. But then he like gets on the subway, and like there's like a really cool idea about like this, like, I don't know what, transcontinental subway system.
Yeah. When they were heading to San Francisco?
Yeah, exactly.
I saw that scene.
Oh, okay. And, but like, essentially they're like, they get on the train, they're like, oh, great, we made it. And they start to take a nap. And it's like, okay, well, it doesn't have the same momentum as...
It's not going to make any stops in between. This is an express train.
Yeah, exactly.
How long have they been sleeping?
They don't need to,
Yeah, he fell asleep with absolutely no lumbar support. I mean, I'm sure his neck was destroyed when he woke up in, St. Louis or wherever he was.
With billions of bluebacks or whatever the hell the money is.
Yeah. Greenbacks? Bluebacks.
Swear to God, Eddie. Swear to God.
What's the big payoff?
The president's promised to give whoever helps me $1 million.
Oh, yeah, 1 million greenbacks? I got 10 million of them in the next room.
Bluebacks.
Oh, come on, Snake.
Bluebacks. Swear to God, Eddie.
I will say, I love the ending of Escape from New York. How, like, You know, like, I think a lesser movie would have the president learn his lesson. Have the president be like, hey, maybe it's not a good idea to just turn an entire city into one big mega prison. But no, he doesn't give a single iota of a shit.
Doubles down, actually. Yeah.
He does not care.
He fucking turkey shoots Isaac Hayes.
He does.
Off the side of the...
He's taking pot shots at him.
On the top of the prison.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
Yeah.
It was like, you know... like, Which at the time, I'm sure had echoes of Attica. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, popular culture has forgotten that one. But at the time, like that was a huge deal in the late 70s. And, you know, the guards essentially were just like, you know, mowing down prisoners.
Right.
And here we have the British president of the United States.
Who sometimes attempts to have a southern accent, but most of the time doesn't.
Who like just like blows away this prisoner, like, you know, shoots him like 400 rounds.
Yeah, a dude who's already in prison.
Yeah, exactly. Who cannot escape.
Yeah, I wonder. I would love to know more about like because I assume like it was released in 1981, so it was probably made in 1980,
79, 80, yeah,
thereabouts. Yeah. But like I don't know what the production cycle is, but I wonder if like some of this was looking at like oh, it looks like Reagan's gonna win the election. I wonder how much of that like influenced.
Well, I read that Carpenter wrote the film between 74 and 76, and it was a reaction to Watergate.
Right, but you know, and then
I'm sure that
like,
changed. Yeah, no.
Then he and Nick Castle got together and like, you know, kind of reworked it for what became the shooting script. But yeah, you're right. Like the sort of original outpouring of the idea, because I had that thought too. I was like, man, like I wonder if he was inspired by the Warriors.
Yeah.
But according to you know, him and everybody else who was behind the scenes on this, like he did write it much earlier than was able to get produced. But also there's this like just this great moment where, you know, speaking of the bridge scene there, it's like where Snake is like pleading with Maggie to like you know, get it together and let's get the hell out of here.
He's dead.
Maggie, he's dead. Come on.
And and she's like not listening to reason, and she like, you know, takes the gun, and like as she's like pulling the trigger, there's like this like almost sexual ecstasy on her face. You know, every time she pulls the fucking trigger and somehow misses the Duke each time. But like you know, speaking of acting choices, that was such an interesting one there.
I need to go back and watch that one.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that.
No, totally.
Adrienne Barbeau is a legend, especially in these genre films. And well, she was also in The Fog, right? So that was another Carpenter film.
It's 12:43, and I've got 4 in a row for you right here on KAB.
Welcome to your very own Map to the Stars. It's me. Sure, we all know the big one wiped out the entertainment industry here in LA, but the glamour and excitement of Hollywood is still alive.
Escape from LA.
Escape from LA.
I love LA.
I love LA.
So you said you hadn't seen this in a very long time, Jeremy. This one is very special to me because this is probably the only or the first John Carpenter film I saw in a theater as like when I was growing up.
Okay.
And so that I thought it was awesome back then. It's definitely not that great now. I get it. It's not as good as Escape from New York, but I think it is a decent sequel / remake.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they sort of market it as a sequel, and they talk about it as a sequel, and they sort of reference things that happened in New York. But man, it is just a remake. You know what I mean? It's like Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 almost, or something. You know, it's like they redo it, but with more money.
Right, but in Evil Dead 2, they use that money for really cool, bigger effects and makeups and all that stuff. In this one...
And this one, somehow the special effects look worse?
They went with the CG at the time, which was not up to par, and it's still not good.
There was some Sega CD graphics there.
Yeah. I bet if they remade this movie with new effects, I bet it would be pretty. It would hold up at least. I think it would be very watchable with new effects.
I was very charmed by the dated CGI in this movie. Like once I got used to it, I was like, yeah this works for this like kind of like pop comic book like style dystopian Los Angeles. Like the weird compositing and everything. Like it's certainly not to keep going back to Lockout, but there is a CGI sequence in Lockout.
Awful.
That looks
the chase
100
the
times
motorcycle
worse than anything in Escape from LA.
I didn't even know what was happening in that scene.
Oh my god.
It was just fast.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd watch all the effects in Escape from LA
nightmare.
over that chase any day, to be honest. Yeah. At least you could see what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shark from Universal Studios almost getting his little submarine there.
I love that.
Yeah. So good.
I kind of think that Escape from LA is John Carpenter's version of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood before Tarantino did it. And it's like you go through all these different LA areas and like little highlights and monuments, but he does it in more of the, dystopian future way, while Tarantino did it in the 60s way. But this was kind of his love letter to all the little places in LA or LA proper or outside of LA, even with Disneyland or Happy Land or whatever the hell they called it.
Happy Kingdom?
Happy Kingdom that went bankrupt. The most magical place on earth.
I want a police chopper to come and get me at the Happy Kingdom no later than 5 a.m.
All the action takes place in 2013, but when does the sort of narration start? It's a little after.
Oh, because
New York, right?
Because we see the big
think
one.
it starts in '98 or something.
Because we watch the big one in some bad CG. Yeah.
And the CG
Yeah, the
Bonaventure
big one
like having a real
separates.
hard time coming down there. That's what's like so frustrating about it. Is like there's like there's the shot of the Bonaventure and it looks terrible, and then there's like the shot of like that freeway collapse that they shot with a giant miniature, intercut between that and like some of the freeway columns like breaking away and like these giant like flat chunks of CGI graphics, but like in between the CGI thing, like they have this like really nice like practical thing, and they obviously spent a lot of money in this movie. This is, I think, Carpenter's biggest budget movie. And you just kind of wish that they would have done some of the other things with the model work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Like when they could have, it seems like they should have.
Was that just kind of where movies were going now, and that they, they're like, oh, there's this new process, and we want to try it out because it's new and it will save us time, money, and etc. But it's not going to look as good. Like what does the final product look like? At least somebody must have asked that, right? Like.
Yeah,
because some of it is like the helicopter at the end is really bad. The way that it like unfolds and like turns into like a transforming helicopter.
I have a feeling there may have been some over-promising and under-delivering going on there.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, our effects house can handle this.
Yeah.
Trust me. Yeah. Okay, we've got 2 days before it's released. Where's the shot? And here it is.
But while the effects aren't that great, I think that the characters are really cool in this. I think Steve Buscemi's Eddie is really awesome.
I know. Steve Buscemi is like playing a Don Knotts character in this. It's so
kind of,
hilarious.
And then I like Hershey. I
like
that character. I
Which one?
love Hershey.
Oh yeah.
And also Peter Fonda. Didn't you bring up Peter Fonda originally too? Like he was even a cool character that he was like the shadowy, strange character that would just pop up, but he had a purpose.
Far out, Snake.
Yeah, I love that. It's the big
Watch
one.
out for Acid Rain, man. How 90s is this? Like, when was the last
Rain.
time? Like, what happened to Acid Rain? Was that like
it's still around, right?
Do we acid rain every day and then it's just like no one notices?
I think we just got used to it,
or like no one talks about it, or is it like the ozone thing where we fix that?
The ozone thing we fixed. Acid rain, I don't think we have fixed, because I did see a headline recently that like some international like science agency declared that there is no place on Earth now where the rainwater is safe to drink.
Nice.
Jesus.
Hell yeah.
So if you're collecting rainwater in a barrel, don't drink it.
Yeah.
It's not good for you.
Wow. Anywhere you
we
go.
did it, folks. We did it.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like
we've done
the
it.
entire world, apparently.
An unpotable world. We finally did it.
Do not drink
only
the water.
70% of this planet is unpotable. That's
unbelievable.
Oh.
Do not, my friends, become addicted to water. It will take hold of you, and you will resent its absence.
This movie starts off with sort of a Christian fascist minoritarian rule, sort of.
Oh, that seems familiar.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It's designer viruses.
Lab leak theory.
Okay, wait. We just
false flag.
We went full false flag.
Yeah.
No, but it's like, yeah, exactly. Like they missed just by 10 years. All these little these horrible predictions. And we've got Jerry Falwell president, Cliff Robertson. He gets elected somehow president for life. And what's great about the sort of exposition moments in this one, right? Because we're hitting all the same beats as New York. It's like, okay, LA has this huge earthquake that sends it out into the ocean, and then they set up a wall full of gun turrets to keep the undesirables out of the Christian America or whatever it's called. And there's like these throwaway lines where it's like we get an impression of what Cuervo Jones is up to, right? And it's like I think Stacy Keach and that other woman that are walking Snake through what's happening here. They're describing Cuervo as this sort of 21st century Simón Bolívar, and Bolivar was like kicking out all the Spanish throughout the sort of South America, and that's sort of their Christo-fascist American perspective on that. But by the time we meet Cuervo, it's like, okay, well, he's just like some fucking weirdo. He's some asshole. It's like,
yeah,
I bring you the death of Snake Plissken. It's like, okay, buddy.
I give you the death of Snake Plissken.
They set up this world there too, and the daughter of the president this time, not the president himself, is the one who crash lands from Air Force 3 or whatever, and she's got the MacGuffin this time, as opposed to the the cassette tape, which is just like, I don't know. We forgot to talk about the very ending shot of Escape from New York, which is fucking awesome. We just it shreds the tape.
Yeah. And then we've got little CD players. Or a little CD player in this one, right?
Are you gonna kill me now, Snake?
I'm too tired.
But in this one, Utopia, the AJ Langer character has got the MacGuffin. When we see the sort of internal workings of what LA has to offer, it's definitely a little different than New York. There's a lot more going on. Funny enough, like the cinematography is so bright for the nighttime exteriors. It's like everywhere you look, it's extremely bright. Which of course, like, that sets it apart from the really sort of wet and really dark New York setting. Which, again, like it has that sort of moodiness to it. But maybe like you're saying, Ryan, like it's more like sort of a comic book perspective with maybe like an earlier like 60s comic book with like the brighter colors and
bigger characters like Louis Skolnick, the bald Louis Skolnick from Revenge of the Nerds, the guy that's throwing knives at the one that Snake's looking for.
Right.
What do I look like, a fucking tour guide?
Right, exactly, or the Bruce Campbell character or something like that.
The Surgeon General of Beverly Hills. So awesome.
It's like, what's wrong with these boobs?
My God, they're real.
Wah, wah. And then also, instead of the crazies in here, they have the sort of Omega Man druids.
Yeah.
That come out and like search for parts.
Jawas.
Houdini. By the time we actually meet Cuervo, it's like, okay, he's just some lunatic who doesn't even have the organization set up the way that Isaac Hayes had set up in prison in there. But his whole thing is that he wants to get out and take over America to stop it or whatever, right?
But using the electromagnetic pulse.
Yeah, using the MacGuffin device to
shut down the world.
Yeah,
like literally put us back into the Stone Age the way that they described it.
Well, no, like what he wanted to do was, shoot that into the Christo-fascist states of America, and shut that down. But like,
it wasn't. Oh, I get it.
Let's sort of Latin America take over.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Shutting down the whole world is what Snake opts to do at the end.
Right.
Got it. Okay. No, I was confused on that. Yeah, that's what he does, right? Like he literally does shut down the world.
What's it do?
Top secret. Only on a need to know.
Evidently, I don't need to know, so fuck you. I'm going to Hollywood.
There's something about this movie where it's like, okay, like I really love the setup for it, and then you sort of get into the submarine thing, and it's hard to take, and then Snake rides the tsunami into the all these little things where it's like I started to tune out a little bit. I actually was watching it in one sitting, and then when they started like hang gliding into the sort of like Disneyland at the end there, I was like, okay, well I'll pick this up a little later. Well,
that's pretty much the end though. You went pretty far into the movie to stop.
Yeah. I did, and I was like, you know what? I've had it with Escape from LA. But what I will say is that like after that, like basically like if I had just like stuck around for the last 10 minutes or whatever it was, it got to a really interesting place, and I think it really sort of sticks the landing, in my opinion, where it's like you're saying, right? It's like he decides that fuck it, all this needs to be shut down, and he's gonna nuke all technology. Like, Snake, you're gonna throw us back 300 years post-industrial revolution. Oh no! And you see what all that industrial revolution has wrought, and it's like, well, what's the fucking difference? Let's turn this thing off.
Start it over.
Let's restart the computer here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it really speaks to Snake Plissken's this is something I think is a through line in both movies. Is that the people with whom Snake Plissken ends up allying with and empathizing with are the people who society has thrown away.
Yeah.
And so those people, like, by and large, for their reward is for helping Snake Plissken is that they die.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like Snake Plissken is like,
I thought you were dead. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Snake Plissken, at the end is like, if society keeps taking away the people that I care about, then what good is society?
Totally.
That's my read on it.
What really pissed me off is that you're right. Everyone does die, including all of the people from Big Trouble in Little China that made an appearance. All the guys from the Wing Chun and the other side.
Great Al Leong.
I'm blanking on the name, but they were all in Big Trouble in Little China. When I saw that, I'm like, this looks like a scene for Big Trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But they all die in the back of the helicopter in some unglorious fashion, and I'm just like, come on, like give them a better out, like have them fall out or something. But it's just like the CG fire.
Yeah.
So the first time I tried to watch Escape from LA, I fell asleep about 45 minutes in. Second time I watched it, basically through the tsunami surfing scene, I was like, what is this? What am I watching?
Yeah.
Where I started to get back on board, and where now, thinking back on the movie, I have a positive impression of it, was when we meet Hershey. Pam Grier comes in to the movie, and it was actually the hang gliding into Disneyland is what got me back on board. I was like, they're hang gliding into Disneyland. I'm not going to deny to myself that this is not great. This
on
is
paper,
fantastic.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think in practice it's awesome too. They're throwing bombs from hang gliders onto Main Street, USA.
Weren't they building them too? Those were just homegrown bombs.
Oh god, it was like the flying monkeys from the Wizard of Oz.
But instead of throwing shit, they were throwing bombs at people.
The wind's up. Come on, let's go.
That's interesting that you had the exact opposite read of the hang gliding scene. But I feel like the ending kind of brings it all home. And man, how much? Okay, so Snake has shut down the world. All of technology is now void, and I don't know what he's like sent us into an agrarian hunter-gatherer society again. And when he goes to like light his like last cigarette and that chewed up little pack of cigarettes, how much were you really expecting the sort of Ann V. Coates cut from Lawrence of Arabia, where it's like he blows out the match and we just cut to black. Ooh. But instead we got the fade out, and we got the, what does he say, like, welcome to the human race.
Yeah.
And then the white zombie starts pouring in.
Yes, right.
Welcome to the human race.
Oh, that's the other thing. So of course we return to our beloved Escape from New York theme, but it's all, they also add a much more sort of twangy spaghetti western sort of like jaw harp sound to it.
Oh yeah.
And when he like hits the like 666 on the like whatever device to shut down the world, and like and the music comes in for that, you're like, even though the CGI looks like fucking stupid, you were like, hell yeah. Because the music was rocking so hard.
For God's sakes, don't do it, Snake.
The name's Pliskin.
So since we spent so much time in this movie, in Escape from LA, like worrying about satellites and things orbiting the planet, perhaps that's where the rumor that the next sequel to the Escape series would take place in space.
That was a rumor, really.
That was a rumor, and it was something that was like circulated.
Escape from orbit
in the early 2000s. Yeah, Escape from Earth, or it's like sort of circulated on the internet, and as it turns out, I don't know what, it was just some internet bullshit rumor, or perhaps it was like based on like the fact that John Carpenter was doing Ghosts of Mars, and it was sort of a Western set off the planet, that oh, maybe this is going to be another Escape from fill in the blank type movie. But funny enough, we go from this internet rumor to 2012's Lockout.
What happened in that motel room?
It was coupon night, and I was trampolining your wife.
You're a real comedian, aren't you, Snow?
Well, I guess that's why they call it the punchline.
When I first saw the trailer for this, I was like, wait a minute. First of all, Guy Pearce is like a legitimate actor. What's he doing in this movie?
Yeah.
Secondly, like, he's got the fucking, oblong, wristwatch. He's got the like gravelly voice. The president's daughter. He's like in a prison island. It's like, what the fuck? How did they get away with this? And it turns out they didn't get away with it.
They didn't,
because they got sued for plagiarism. Because Luc Besson, who wrote the Lockout, and whatever Europa company or whatever, had to end up paying John Carpenter and I think Nick Castle for ripping this thing off. And so I had never seen this movie other than the trailer. Then I heard about this little snafu with the plagiarism suit, and thought it would be a funny way to tie this all in. But after watching it, I'm thinking maybe you don't want to have your name associated with this movie, and why bother doing the lawsuit?
Yeah.
Just let him have that one, okay?
So are you saying you guys didn't care for this one? Or what are your thoughts?
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's rough.
When we started talking about it, I remembered another thing about this movie that I didn't like, that I had forgotten about, and like I had to just like put my face in my hands, because like George Lucas deserves should have gotten in on that lawsuit, because they just 100% rip off Return of the Jedi in this. They fly into the space station to drop a bomb inside.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Come on.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. There's probably a lot of scenes in this where I've kind of excised it from my memory already.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This is one of those movies where it's like, there's like this like ugly future aesthetic.
Right.
But this is one of those where I can't tell if it's supposed to be dystopian or if it's just cheap.
If it's just topian. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this one, it's like, hey, can we do Taken, but in space? And it's like,
yeah,
that seemed kind of like the pitch here. And they're like, yeah, I can do Taken in space, but it'll also be Escape from New York and Escape from LA. It's like, the president's daughter will be there, and like, we'll have, have him have the goddamn wristwatch and all these other things.
What if every line out of Snake Plissken's mouth was a quip?
Everything coming out of Guy Pearce's mouth was a quip.
Exactly.
He didn't have any regular dialogue.
No.
He was like a joke of the day calendar of like.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, October 29th. No.
Boy, this calendar talks a lot about fucking my wife.
Yeah. Listen, the writer was on a deadline. He had to kind of like, whip some things out and just.
With that attitude, I can see why nobody likes you.
Oh, come on. People love me. Just ask your wife.
One character that does an insult of the day calendar and then 150 NPCs. And it's just like, speaking
played
of
by good actors.
Video games, it's like, this one, like every single character is just like a nonsense, like faceless drone of like, replaceable villains,
Even Stormare, Peter Stormare, who I really like all the time. Everything that he does, I really enjoy. And this was really hard to watch. And
it was hard to watch because he looked like, Giuliani sweating hair dye in this thing.
Yeah, exactly. That, like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's like, black, painted on, Van Dyke beard and, it's like slick back hair. Oh, boy.
And the two antagonist brothers, like, just kind of... The one was okay, I guess, the leader, but the other brother...
Are you talking about the bootleg Gerard Butler?
Oh, my God.
In less than an hour, all these people will be the only thing keeping us alive. You don't mess with your poker chips.
When that guy, one other guy asks him, why don't you just cut him loose? And he's like, I can't.
He's my brother.
He's my brother. I was like, come the fuck on.
I laughed. I audibly laughed out loud at that part. Like, there were a lot of moments that I'm sure I wasn't supposed to be laughing, but I was roaring. Yeah,
Luke, you laid no groundwork for that whatsoever.
Why don't we just kill that lunatic?
Because he's my brother.
But at least they changed his name enough. He wasn't Snake. He was Snow.
Yeah,
they changed him by 2 letters. Marion Snow is his full name.
They rolled for a vowel.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Last name Snow, first name Marion.
My old man was a big John Wayne fan.
If you can rewind your memory all the way back to the very opening scene.
Oh yeah,
of
I'm
Lockout,
there already. I got it.
You got it. It's this like tight close up in 235 of a very disaffected Guy Pearce, and someone asks him a question. He looks at his quip of the day calendar, comes back with the quip, gets like punched off screen. And he comes back on, he's got a little blood on his nose.
To wipe on his name, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Cigarettes bent.
Yeah, exactly. Cigarettes bent, exactly. He quips again, gets punched again, more makeup and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's kind of a fun opening. And, it's... You have this, like, cool, like, progression of, like, him getting his ass kicked. And, we're sort of being introduced to the rough and tumble Marion Snow. But then, just 2 seconds later, we get this like series of flashbacks that look like outtakes from Taken, and it has this like, straight to HBO 90s action movie music playing, and all of a sudden you're like, oh well, all that aesthetic work that you just did in the very opening, just throw out the window.
Yeah, when a movie peaks aesthetically within the first 10 seconds.
you know you're in trouble. Yeah.
It's a bad sign.
Still got an hour and 20 minutes to go here. Hour and 25 minutes.
You're looking at the watch. You're like, oh boy.
I was like, oh, is this like maybe like a slept-on sci-fi action classic?
Yeah, exactly.
That I'm about to discover, and it turns out the answer is no.
Absolutely not.
I can't stop thinking about that car chase. Oh my lord!
Are you talking about the GTA cutscene?
So I mean, that was what you were talking about, right? With the CG being terrible.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
I just couldn't couldn't follow what was
nothing-
going on. It was just
No,
it was super fast. He was going in between lanes. It was like cutting into close-ups of him and like getting like really strange like reactions, and then it would go away. It was almost like it felt like Benny Hill, like when they sped up the video, you know, it was like yeah, you know, it's like ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah, it felt like you know, like P. Diddy had a real cool idea for a music video in like 2002. And it didn't end up working out, but they still had all the footage.
So in 2012,
10 years later, they
Guy Pearce in there, yeah.
Exactly. Oh my god!
Because like the like nothing has, from what I could actually see, like nothing has weight. Everything is going way too fast.
No physics at
the
all.
physics are completely off.
And then
I can't tell where the ground is.
But you look at that, and then you look at what they did with in Escape from New York, a traditional matte painting, which is but it still sells. And even the composite in L.A. was better than what we got in Lockout. You know, like that was just straight bad CG.
This is an interesting progression of filmmaking. So we go from 1981 to 2012, and each step of the way, the special effects get worse and worse.
Like noticeably worse. Like not like you could. There's like no arguing. No arguing that they're. Oh well, this one's okay. No. None of them are good, you know.
I have a feeling there was a lot of we'll fix it in post. In Lockout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, guys, play nice.
But I mean, it was such a weak story too. I mean, just from it didn't seem to go anywhere. There was no twists and turns outside of the brother of the villain. You know, you find out that this guy's the brother. That was probably the biggest twist of the movie, and then you find out that Lenny James is actually a double agent or whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah, at the end, which, you know, he's the good guy throughout the whole thing. Probably the best actor in the movie, to be honest. And then he ends up being the bad guy.
God, how terrible was that reveal, by the way? It's like...
Oh, so...
Really bad.
Also, like, just like...
And it turns out, like, that Snow was just some, like, you know, self-righteous cop the entire time. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Like this, that, like.
Did I walk into another fucking movie? What is this shit?
I don't understand.
What I don't understand is how you knew the combination. That's what I don't understand.
Like they pull this like 180 at the very end, where it's like, actually, the police are awesome.
Right. That was the big twist.
We spent 80 minutes showing you how fascist and awful these cops are, but turns out
they're great.
Turns out they're really cool.
The space prison was just a whoopsie doodle.
Yeah, like fucking blowing up all of the prisoners on this island prison. Whoopsie.
You know, Escape from New York and Escape from LA, like, they both have philosophical content to them. Like, there's something to chew on in terms of, like, what it says about, you know, human nature, society. Yeah, there's commentary there. There's, like, there are ideas being engaged with.
Yeah.
Lockout has...
on the other hand.
Nothing. Just an empty void.
I think, you know, when they describe something as cookie cutter, this is exactly it. It's devoid of anything, any substance at all. You know, with even the outline sucks.
Even more so than the couple of things that I noticed in the trailer for Lockout. You know, there were a couple other things that like were sort of direct references or rip-offs from the Escape from New York / LA world. I mean, you know, Snow ending up with MacGuffin tape or whatever it was at the very end there.
I don't remember what it was.
He had it the whole time, right? Like wasn't that in the pen?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then,
I was watching that.
You're going to have to rewatch the movie.
I checked out.
Yeah.
No, I do not.
Okay.
No, I absolutely do not.
That's where you're wrong. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't know if we want to count it, but maybe the sort of like hang glider parachute situation when he after he space dove through the atmosphere. But instead of landing in Disneyland, he lands in New York.
He just lands on the narrowest looking freeway overpass I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Yeah, they parachute from space and just land in an embrace in front of what looks like the background of like a bowling alley screen when you get a strike.
That's funny.
Your bowling ball's a spaceship and it flies into a bunch of pins and knocks it down.
A double.
Oh no, a split. But the other thing that so the place where the MacGuffin was contained, or the other MacGuffin was contained, which is that briefcase they were trying to get, that somehow the guy from The Walking Dead, and Snatch got the combination to, and it's like, no one told you what the combination was, buddy. Oh no, you're the mole.
That was the
So that briefcase, that whole sequence and what Snow was doing there was very, very much like the deleted scene Snake bank robbery, where they go into that subway and in Escape from New York, and then the sort of deleted scene. And so not only were they ripping off the two produced movies, but they also got the deleted scene and ripped that off too.
No one has seen these. They were deleted. Let's just rip them off. Use them.
I think we can use this one.
Was that their argument in court?
Yeah.
It's different because we included the stuff that you didn't.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Listen, Your Honor, you don't understand. Escape from LA bombed at the box office. No one saw it. It's okay. We can use The President's Daughter. It's okay.
They pay you well?
Matter of fact, they did. No, they really did.
And how much was that exactly? How much was Frank's life?
Does the number even matter, Snow?
I hope they put you away for a long time.
My guess, I'll do 3 years tops and minimum security. And you want to know why? Because they need people like me.
But I guess speaking of bomb at the box office, Lockout kind of came and went, and I wonder why. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. So it did get a theatrical release, though?
It did, or at least I saw the trailer in the theater
for a hot minute.
I do not remember this movie at all. This is the only time I've ever heard of this movie.
Yeah, for good reason.
But thanks to this podcast, now I can't say that anymore, and I've actually watched this piece of shit.
Yeah. You did it. Yeah, we should have had a disclaimer at the beginning of this. Listen, watch Escape from New York, and if you feel up to it, watch LA. But please, for the love of God, don't watch Lockout.
Just look it up. Ryan, this was a good time talking about these films. Even the shitty ones are fun to talk about, aren't they?
Thank you. They are, yes. Because I got someone to I just got to get it off my chest sometimes.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's healing.
Do you have anything you want to plug or anywhere that folks can follow you on the interwebs or anything like that?
Yes, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at RJHitch. I'm on Twitter at RJamesHitchcock. Because I did not have the foresight to make my usernames match.
Yeah.
If you're in the LA area, you can see me perform comedy around town. I host a monthly show at the Pack Theater called Surf Advisory.
Hang 10, Snake.
Yes. And I am also involved in a new comedy theater that is the first certified Black-owned comedy theater in Los Angeles called
Excellent.
The Ledge Theater.
The Ledge?
We're doing shows, The Ledge Theater. We're doing shows on Fridays at Skiptown Playhouse. in Hollywood.
Excellent. That was probably the best plug that anyone's ever given us on a show, by the way. That was very
Thank
well
you.
thought. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Your countdown clock has now terminated function. Your time is up.
All right, next time we'll be talking Val Lewton films with a special returning guest. We're going to be talking Cat People from 1942, I Walked with a Zombie from 1943, and The Body Snatcher from 1945. Pretty excited about talking about these finally.
Right. I mean, we kind of teased this one a long time ago, but we finally got around to doing it, and I think it'll be a fun little expedition, something.
It's too much exposition.
Yeah. getting back into some gothic horror, but from slightly different perspective, a low budget perspective. How about that?
Love it.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Please make sure to subscribe and follow us on all the podcasts and social platforms at the Grindhouse Institute. And if you really want to give us a boost, check us out on Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It helps us to get noticed. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll be back next week.
Ciao.
What did I teach you?
You are the Duke of New York. You're A number 1.
I can't hear you.
You are the Duke of New York. You're A number 1.